incident what happened a couple of months ago, probably 6-8 months ago actually, and it's not much of an incident, but I was at a visiting hospital and talking about a change to how the system is happening there, and it's to do with they're going digital with their medical records, and they've changed the name of the systems, name of the workbench where the computers sit on, from what was called a computer on wheels to now a workstation on wheels, and someone had re-abbreviated that to being C.O.W.S. Now, when I look at that kind of stuff, I think, wow, like, that's a computer on wheels. Like, that's exactly what I think about. Like, I don't actually go to anything else. And so when people call it Daisy and all the other kinds of names, I think it's hilarious. You know, for me, it's about bringing fun to a workplace where we do some really serious shit in our day-to-day business as health professionals. However, some people find it quite offensive, and it really got me thinking about, where does this offensiveness come from? So while I'm at the unit, I made a comment in a place that I was visiting to, and I said, I actually don't understand what the problem is of that being a cow. I don't understand what the problem is. I got berated by this person who works at the unit, and it was over how I had called her a cow. And I said, but I didn't call you a cow. I said, I don't understand. She goes, no, you called me a cow by saying that. And I just sat there going, oh my goodness, wow, was actually my first comment, which sent the whole room into a state of hysterics. But it made me think about, where do people's heads sit day to day when they can't look at another piece of equipment and say, okay, that's a computer on wheels and we've named it Daisy? That's quite funny in itself. For someone to think or take that as a personal insult, what is going on in their mind? What is going on in their thoughts? What conversations are continually going on in the back of their heads, that when someone says, oh, I'm going to go get the cow, they think that they're being spoken to, that they're the ones that we're taking down and we're discriminating. And I just think it's like something that is not well within my realm. But it highlighted to me that, for me, I have spent the last quite a few years identifying who I am as a person and identifying where I stand within a society, within the team, with the things that I'm doing. So when a piece of equipment is named a computer on wheels and we abbreviate it, I'm not offended if it comes down as a cow. I think it's quite funny. I work in an environment where I have been called every name under the sun. I have been abused, I have been punched, I have been all of that spat on, pissed on, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And yet every day I get up and I go and do my job, and I do it well as far as I'm concerned. And people can sit there and people can either look at that from one perspective and be upset and say, well, these people shouldn't do that. And they're right. I shouldn't go to work and be let down and be punched and everything else and spat on or shat on or whatever. But at the end of the day, that's what happens, and I know the environments for where I'm going to. And I know I'm more than that as a person. What I stand for and who I am is more than what these people and what these things are looking for. Like, from when someone says to me, there's a cow, I do not think it's me that they're talking to. When I get called an F&C when I'm working in the emergency department, they're not talking. They can call me what they like, but that's not who I am as a person. That's not my identity. That's your interpretation of that. So don't project your interpretation on me. And if you want to, oh well, your problem, not mine. It's got nothing to do with me and where your life is currently at. So therefore, I look at this whole cow thing as quite hilarious, and actually in the other side, quite sad for these other people that that's how they feel about themselves, and that when they hear that, it triggers an emotional response or an emotional pattern in them, that they are being victimized. And that's what this is coming back to. In one aspect, I think, you know, toughen up. Seriously, toughen up. Identify who you are as a purpose and your purpose in life or what you want to do. And because someone calls me an F&C, or someone goes, hey, cow, go and get that. Like, oh, well, too bad. That's your problem, not mine. I don't really care. Like, your loss. I think it's funny that someone would want to call me that. Like, hey, we're all people, we can work together, but if that's the way you want to look at things, that's your problem, not mine. And for people that I joke around with, cool, I think it's funny. Like, have some fun, lighten up. We do enough serious stuff as it is. But it comes back to this knowing who you are as a person. It's having the emotional fitness and the fortitude within yourself to continue to be you. And when someone doesn't think and wants to have an attack at you, or not have an attack at you, but you want to take that on as being you, like, you need some serious work and you need to get some help and take some time to identify who you are and embrace that. So, yeah, I think going back to having a look at your identity and who you are as a person is what's needed.